Welcome to Collections of Cinema.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of Cock, your cock podcast.
Where we talk about all things cock. I feel like we've made that joke already.
Collections of Cinema.
Didn't the last episode, the last
we
episode you
started.
said...
Yeah, we should stop doing that.
Also, let's clarify. I only ever repeated it. You were the one who started it. Just saying.
Fair. We are back with a new episode. And today I woke up to a sad news. We are recording this on the 2nd of April. And Val Kilmer died.
He did.
65 years old. And I shed some tears in the morning because he's was one of my favorite actors.
He's great.
And yeah, let's just quickly talk about, we just recently watched Heat again.
Mm-hmm.
And we also watched Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, one of his arguably funniest roles ever. I just ordered Top Secret on Blu-ray. I've loved that movie. I have not seen it in a while, and I don't have it on Blu-ray, so I ordered it, and I can't wait to rewatch it. We watched the documentary Val in 2021.
That was wonderful, yeah.
It's such a great documentary. If you like his movies, if you like him as a person, go check it out. I think it's streaming on Prime. He, in the last couple of years, he suffered, like in 2015, he was diagnosed with throat cancer, and he had surgeries and chemotherapy and whatever. Yeah. And he kind of moved back in terms of making movies a little bit. His last movie was Top Gun Maverick, which now, like, the scene, I don't know if you remember the scene
where they like redid his voice or something.
I mean, yes, but the general, like, the story why he's in, and his character, the closure,
I don't really remember now.
I rewatched it on YouTube today because it kind of hits harder now that he's gone, and the thing is, I don't know how his health was. He died of pneumonia. Sorry. Pneumonia.
I feel like that's a fairly common thing when you have cancer.
I mean,
pneumonia
he didn't have cancer anymore, but the problem was that he had like an open...
So his immune system was probably...
I assume that he was taking things for his immune system, and he was not in his best health, probably, and we already said Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, great fucking movie. Top Gun Maverick, and this the first Top Gun, obviously. Kiss Kiss, I already said Heat. I mean, probably one of the greatest movie ever made. We just did a podcast about Heat, so if you have not listened to that, then now it's the time to check it out. True Romance, obviously. Batman, he played Batman in Batman Forever, one of my favorite older Batman because of Jim Carrey's portrayal of the Riddler. He played Jim Morrison in The Doors.
It's funny that it's most people's least favorite Batman movie, but I love it.
I love it too. And he also played Dieter von Kuntz in the MacGruber movie, and it's one of the Kuntz. It's such a funny role, and he just leans into it, and the way he dies at the end, it's just such a perfect movie. And I already said that on Fred, I already posted that on Fred's. I think, Val Kilmer was one of those people, no matter what movie he was in, he elevated the movie. He's like he was one of those actors that he not only was he funny, he was super charismatic, he was fucking amazing. Like in Heat, he's this young actor, nobody really knows him, but he just plays against Robert De Niro in such a good way. He just levels the play field with De Niro, and that's fucking insane coming from this young actor, and he proved himself over the years multiple times. And it's a sad day. He for sure left a hole in the space, because he was one, like, if you look at his filmography, he was one of the more unconventional Hollywood actors, I would say. He did things that a typical leading man or typical Hollywood actor would not taken on, and he kind of always surprised himself probably, and also fans. Like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, for example, is such a unique role. Like he plays this, what is it, gay. I don't know his nickname right now in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, but he plays this. He's like this detective in Hollywood, in LA, and he's just so fucking funny. Opposite of Robert Downey Jr. Great fucking guy, and it's sad that he's gone. Yeah. Okay, we asked you on Threads, people, what kind of movie you wanted to see this week. We said either a 2024 movie, so from last year, or an older classic. And you decided very clearly we should do an older classic.
And it doesn't get much older and classic than classier. The Wizard of Oz.
The Wizards of the Oz.
You're a wizard, Dorothy.
Der Zauberer von Oz. Wizard of Oz, we watched it in glorious 4K.
What an experience.
And actually, a movie that came out in 1939, looking that good is fucking insane. Yeah. Like, there were some scenes that you could see that, okay, they're not super sharp because probably the focusing didn't work in those scenes. And back then, you didn't notice because the resolution was so, small. Yep. But now, it like seeing it in that detail, and just obviously not 16:9 but 43, but still very cool. And the thing is, I think I've not seen the full movie ever.
It's so crazy. When we first started the movie last night, he said something to the effect of him having not seen it before, and I was shocked to my core.
I've seen multiple scenes, especially once she is in Oz. But I've not seen the full movie.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. Obviously, I knew the story. Most of it, not all the details. But do you want to go into the story?
So, I mean, essentially, it's about Dorothy, as I say in the movie, Dorothy. Yeah. And Judy Garland, who is just an angel on Earth. 16 at the time of filming this movie, which is nuts. Yep. She's so talented. But she lives on a farm in Kansas with her aunt and uncle. And I think they're her other uncles, like the brothers of either Aunt Em or her uncle. I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah. But she lives on this farm, and she has a dog named Toto. And there's like an evil woman who basically she has a lot of power in the town, even though she's never been like an elected official. So there's a lot of social commentaries as well. Yeah. But it starts out where she's trying to take the dog away because she claims that the dog bit her. And so she's like, I have a police order that we can take your dog. And so she takes the dog, and he escapes, and then comes back to Dorothy, and Dorothy decides she's going to run away because she's scared that they're going to take Toto away. Yeah. And she runs away, meets a guy, doesn't matter. It's this whole thing. And as she's deciding to return back home, there's a twister. A tornado hits. Yeah. And she tries to go into the house to find her aunt, but they've already gone down into the bunker. And gets hit by a window that breaks off in the storm. And then the house flies away into Oz. Or does it?
Lands on the wicked...
Witch of the
East, which dies and leaves her the
ruby slippers.
The ruby slippers, right? Mm-hmm. And then she basically goes on a quest to find the Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Because
Glinda the Good Witch sent her on this quest and said he can send you home.
Right. And on this quest, she meets a free, funny characters. First off, the Scarecrow. Second, the Tin Man.
Scarecrow's the best.
And third, the lion.
Cowardly lion.
And those three.
They join her on her quest because they are also looking for something. Right. The Scarecrow is looking for brains. The Tin Man is looking for a heart, and the lion is looking for courage. Right. And they join her and help her to find. Yes. The Wizard of while
Oz.
The Wicked Witch of the West, the sister of the Wicked Witch of the East, is trying to keep them from getting to Oz. Right. And get the ruby slippers because they hold a lot of power.
Right. Yeah, essentially that's the story in quick fashion. The movie came out in 1993, based on the novel 1939, sorry. Based on the novel 1900 novel The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, which is fucking insane.
Yeah.
The movie was nominated for 5 Academy Awards: Best Picture, winning Best Original Song and Best Original Score. The
music in this film
it's good,
unbelievable.
Especially when Judy Garland sings.
Whew, yeah.
Budget is 2.8 million, which is nuts considering the
2.8 million
crazy amount of things they built. Granted,
1939.
That was a lot of
That's
money.
a lot of money.
And the box office was 29.7 million, which is also crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
And the first movie shot in Technicolor, correct? Was it Technicolor?
It was not the first, but it was celebrated for the use of Technicolor. Mm-hmm. It was not the first one, no.
But it was one of those movies where people were shocked in the theater, like when she arrives and opens the door, because it starts off in like this sepia tone, and when she lands in Oz, outside of Oz, wherever in Munchkinland, when she lands there and she opens the door, she walks into this land of color, and it's like so vibrant and so bright. And apparently, from what I've read in the past, people were blown away and shocked by that.
The film was ranked in Variety's inaugural 100 Greatest Movies of All Time list, published in 2022. And was among the top 10 in the 2005 British Film Institute list of 50 best films to be seen by the age of 14. And it's considered one of the greatest classics ever made. And it also spawned a lot of spin-offs, or at least retelling of the story and references, pop culture references. And
lots of pop culture.
And obviously the Wicked movie now is the sequel,
books,
the prequel to the, and books, obviously books, and then the play and or the musical, and now the movie is the prequel to Wizard of Oz. And there was a movie with
James Franco. You mean?
James Franco, right? In 2014.
I never saw that. I don't think.
Was it 2014? No, it was not 2014.
No, I feel like I was in
It was
high
Oz the
school.
Great and Powerful by Sam Raimi. It was not great. It was not bad.
When did it come out?
2013.
Okay, I wasn't.
James Franco, Mila Kunis, Rachel Weisz, Michelle Williams. It was a great. I liked it. I have it on Blu-ray. It's not bad. Tom and Jerry did Back to Oz. They did like a thing. Like so many pop cultural references to the whole story, to the world of Oz. It's nuts. It's honestly nuts. I got some here just for the sake of it. Muppets did a Wizard of Oz thing. Obviously, Wicked, Wild at Heart is essentially the same story with Nick Cage. Then obviously lines as "There's no place like home" or "Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore." Things like that are repeated multiple times in so many things.
Did you just say Toto says? I feel like
no,
we're not in
she says Toto. I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. And apparently it's a thing that if you play Dark Side of the Moon
that's
in
a thing.
sync with the movie,
that's
it's
a thing.
Super weird.
We've done it.
Oh, really?
Yes. I did it as a kid, as a teenager. You have to line it up perfectly, but it works.
Okay.
It's real cool.
That's kind of cool.
I mean, obviously just for the length of the song, but it's real cool.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
The thing is, I really like the movie. It's a fun, a little musical. It feels very much like a stage production, especially once she lands in Oz, because you can see the stages. You can clearly see where they start and where they end. The way some of the characters appear and disappear is very stage production, is like the Wicked Witch of the West. I loved it so much. I mean, you also like watching it. I think especially watching it today, there are a lot of people who, I mean, we've seen it with recent things that have come out that maybe we'll talk about later, like Adolescence, where people do not handle things that don't work a certain way, look a certain way, feel a certain way, just, for whatever reason, because we're prone to things
being fast and quick and to the point now.
Yeah.
But so I feel like watching a movie from 1939, you also have to be in the mindset of 1939 and what they had available to them. And appreciate that for what it is, because the sets were fucking incredible.
Not only the sets, but also the practical effects.
Like, well, just like her flying, like the Wicked Witch flying the first time, we both laughed. But thinking about it, it must have looked so fucking cool seeing it for the first time.
It still looks good.
It looks great. It looks great.
It works in the setting of the movie.
It feels like it's just like a little miniature something like on a string that they're...
That's what
like
it is.
Flying through the studio.
That's exactly what.
It's so cool.
I actually the most impressed sequence was the flying monkeys taking them to the castle. That was honestly. The thing is, I know how they did it. You can clearly see how they did it, but it worked so well, and the way they lowered the monkeys with the ropes or whatever they had, and then they grabbed them, and then they took off again. Like, it looked so fucking good.
Yep.
And even then the wide shot of like the flock of monkeys flying. I don't know if it's flock. Gang of monkeys flying.
I mean, technically they're flying monkeys, so I would say it's a flock.
Right.
Unless it's a murder like crows.
No, it's a flock.
A flock of flying monkeys.
Right. Yeah.
I want to quickly go into, because I have in front of me, there are some... It's been interpreted, we'll say it this way. The Wizard of Oz has been interpreted in a very... there's some social commentaries.
Yeah, there is more than that.
And just some of them I wanted to read, or one in particular. The Wizard of Oz is often interpreted as a social and political allegory, particularly reflecting the populist movement of the late 19th century, with different characters and parts of the movie representing different aspects. So the story is often seen as a parable for the populist movement, which was a political movement that advocated for the rights of farmers and working class people against the perceived power of the elite. Yeah. So, very, very relevant today still. Yeah. So in terms of the monetary policy, Dorothy's slippers, her ruby slippers, are often interpreted as representing the populist belief in minting silver money to revitalize the economy, because they're silver slippers, and then she gets the ruby slippers. Yeah. The yellow brick road could symbolize the gold standard, a monetary system that populists opposed. Yeah. The Emerald City, with its green color, could represent the perceived corruption and elitism of the federal government. And then in terms of characters, social groups and their struggles. So the Scarecrow representing the farmers, the Tin Man, the industrial workers, and the Cowardly Lion, the weak leaders. And it's actually funny because multiple times things that the Cowardly Lion said, I was like, cough, cough. The Wicked Witch could represent the financial interests or powerful elites that the populists opposed. So I don't really consider the Wicked Witch necessarily an evil character. She is and she isn't. Like, she, especially if you know the story of Wicked, and like how Elphaba turned into the Wicked Witch.
In the bubble of Wizard of Oz, she is an evil character. Yeah. She's clear nemesis of the world of Oz and of the main heroes. Yeah. But if you add the Wicked backstory to the whole thing, then obviously it changes it. Yeah.
And this one I find the most accurate. The wizard, revealed as a powerless figure behind the curtain, could represent the federal government and its perceived lack of power over the will of the people. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, there's more to it. There are so many other commentaries and theories about, what it could be alluding to, but it's still very relevant watching it. Last night, you see so many connections to today still.
It's been recently, a couple of months or years ago, like once Ted Lasso stopped airing, or at least the third season aired, people saw that there are clearly some parallels. And one of the writers, Roy Kent, or Brett Goldstein, who portrayed Roy Kent, he also produced the show and played the character in it, confirmed actually that the rusty Roy Kent who learns to open up his heart is the Tin Man, the golden-haired Rebecca Walton who gains courage is the Lion, and the self-centered Jamie Tart who learns to work with his team is the Scarecrow. And obviously, Ted Lasso is also from Kansas, so he kind of represents Dorothy a little bit. He comes to this new world as an outsider and has to adapt to learn, how the game is played essentially in that world.
Yeah,
and it kind of works. It's kind of cool to see the story and also the characters being adopted in modern television.
Yeah.
Do you have something else? Like some trivia? I don't really have trivia.
I didn't look up any trivia this time around. I thought it would be fun to. I'm just looking for the Letterboxd reviews because those are fun.
Yeah, we do that later.
But yeah, I mean, I personally love. I don't know that I would call myself a musical buff. Because there are definitely tons that I have not seen that are super popular. Yeah. And there are tons that I've not seen that are not as popular, but like the buffs all know. But I am a big appreciator of like musical theater, theater in general. I love it. I love the stage. I loved being on the stage. I loved being in musicals. Anything I could do to be a part of it, I loved it. Like in high school and stuff. And we also did this musical in high school, and it was just, watching it again. I don't know that I've watched it since we did the musical. It's been a really long time, and so it just like brings back all these super fond memories too of just being a part of that, and it was really fun. And I think the story is lovely. Yeah, and
it's very timeless. It's a very
timeless.
And it's similar to Star Wars, or other movies from that era where they use a lot of practical effects. Obviously, they had to. There was no green screen back then, but they had to use a lot of practical effects, and by that alone, it makes it a very timeless watch. It's not a movie that I would consider it looks old. It feels old. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you can like the beats are a little old school, and the way it's edited is a little old school. But other than that, it's a very cool movie, and I highly recommend the 4K Blu-ray. It never looked better, and I think it's worth to get it if you're a fan of the movie.
And if you haven't seen it,
obviously,
definitely see it. It's so good. And Judy Garland, just
obviously,
let's just angel,
fucking icon,
angel.
Let's go to movie of the week.
So we don't do Letterboxd.
No,
reviews.
We do after.
Movie of the week. Da, 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 da.
Okay, we watched Mr. Mom.
Fun.
The Cable Guy.
Fun.
The Monkey.
Also fun.
Better Living Through Chemistry.
All of them are very fun movies.
Yep. The thing is, I would choose Cable Guy.
Me too.
But it has to be Cable Guy. But Better Living Through Chemistry is a close second.
Really, really good.
I really liked it.
Was really good.
Yeah, I really liked that movie.
But yeah, Cable Guy, come on. It's Cable Guy.
I mean, yeah, Cable Guy, one of the more underrated.
Iconic comedy, in my opinion.
It's iconic, but it's an underrated Jim Carrey movie.
100%.
It's been overlooked a couple of times simply because when that movie came out in 1996, I want to say. 1996, yeah. Mm-hmm. Jim Carrey was at his height of comedy icon, basically, with Ace Ventura and with Dumb and Dumber.
Mm-hmm.
Dumb and Dumber, did it come out already?
I think so. Or was that? No, I think it was later.
I feel like it was later. Okay.
Yeah, 90s,
but he
end of the 90s or something like 98, 99?
1994, actually. No, it came out.
Oh, really?
Already. Yeah, it came out already. But yeah, he was at his height of comedy, and nobody expected him to play this sinister, dark character, kind of. And this movie is a satire. It's a flat out satire, but it's fucking funny.
It's
and
so funny.
Ben Stiller just directed his first movie. He considered it back then he considered it a failure. Simply, it didn't do well in the box office, but it grew on fans and it became a cult classic.
Yeah.
And it's for sure a cult classic. I mean,
it's Matthew one of Broderick, my favorite comedies of all time.
Right. Matthew Broderick, Leslie Mann, Jack Black. Jim Carrey.
Also, Jack Black is so weird to see in this movie because he plays it so straight. Like
Old Wilson is in it.
I feel like it was before Jack Black's like peak comedy
time.
Not
really, actually. Because He did.
He
did
High Fidelity.
High Fidelity, and he already played with his craziness. He sang in that movie.
I know, but it wasn't like established. I feel like he wasn't established as that yet.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it's really weird to see him just playing like this super normal guy.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre. Sure. But yeah, Jim Carrey is brilliant in this movie.
Yeah.
There is one scene in particular that I won't spoil, but there is one scene in particular when they go to medieval times.
Yeah, it's so
that
funny.
Is maybe my favorite comedic moment in any movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It will always be burned into my brain.
It's really funny.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to some of the reviews of Wizard of Oz. Letterboxd, obviously.
Okay.
Do you have some?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a 4-star review.
Yeah.
If some random bitch in a bubble made me walk for hours on end only to tell me that all I needed to do was click my heels 3 times and I'd be home, I would beat her up. But this person clearly missed the point of the movie because even the witch said, yeah, sure, he could have done that, but she needed to go on this quest and this journey on her own and learn these things about herself.
That's true.
So
there's one. A Kansas horse girl unlearns her homophobia with the help of 3 gay cosplayers as she goes on a killing spree to stop Ann Coulter from kidnapping her dog.
Okay, honestly, the best, most accurate review, because even I've been saying this forever. Even I say those 3 characters, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion, 100%. My gaydar goes off. I'm allowed to say that because I am bisexual. But 100% queer. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell. And I mean it is in the highest form of compliment.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And if it was intentional or not, I don't know, but it's so prevalent. It's just so good. And I also said watching the movie last night, this movie is really just about a dog lover because everything that happened was either because of the dog, like because of her trying to protect the dog, or the dog trying to protect her. Yeah. Everything. Yeah. If the woman hadn't taken Toto in the first place, she wouldn't have run away. None of that would have happened. And then in Oz, when she's captured by the witch, if Toto hadn't escaped, found the other 3, and led them to Dorothy, she would have died. So, I mean...
Yeah.
None of it works without the dog. It's all about Toto.
There's some scenes where the dog is also stupid, but yeah, in grand scheme of things,
all about Toto.
But also, I mean, if the dog would have not been in the movie, she would have not gone to Oz. Because she would have been at the house and she would have went into the basement or in the shelter.
That's what I said. Yeah. If she wouldn't have tried to take the dogs, then none of it would have happened in the first place. But it's still all about the dog.
That's it, everybody. So if you want to support us, please go. Can you stop moving the camera, please? If you want to support us, please head over to our Fred's Instagram,
he was talking to
YouTube,
Bane, by the way.
And subscribe, follow us there, and leave a comment. What would you want to see next or hear next?
Yep.
Please rate and review the podcast on Apple or Spotify or both. And if you really want to help us out, then head over to our Patreon page where you can get a free member or one of the other 2 tiers, and you get a shout out like Joe. Hey, thanks, Joe, for being still a member.
You can awesome. Also get access to our entire movie collection
and
pick a movie, and we will have to do whatever movie you pick from our collection. Right. So that's also fun.
Tell us.
Yep.
That's it. Goodbye.
Goodbye.